Hey guys, welcome back to Wrong End of the Snake question and answer period. Eric has graciously agreed to spend another 30 minutes with us with some of your questions that you asked during the hour live stream. Tater, why don't you throw us some of those and let's talk for another 30.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, let's start off thanking Eric again, man. Fantastic. Always love
Absolutely,
talking
man.
to you, catching up.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Went so fast. But a guy named Ed Viteri is asking, how is Soul Station music shaping up, release date, and all that kind of stuff? I think it's pretty pertinent because Paul's doing Soul Station stuff. I don't know. Is that still going on? Or?
Yep. Actually, we just, the record is done. I'm not sure how many tracks are going to be on it, so I don't want to. I know we recorded 14 songs, 5 originals and 9 covers. I don't know what's going to make the final albums. I didn't, ask Paul, and I don't know release date yet. Obviously, due to COVID situation, it's changed everybody's, not just their lives, but the timelines on things. So, but we did do some videos last Friday. I went to LA, and Wayne Isham, you guys probably worked with him, I'm sure.
I worked with his brother, the keyboard brother for Vince Neil when Brent was in the band.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah. Mark
we did
Isham.
a bunch of performance videos for 5 songs, which was rather ambitious to do usually, in a video shoot. But we did it the old school way, with the cameras and a whole crew and everything. Everybody had to get COVID tested like within before that. And you had to bring tests to show that you had gotten the test and you were negative. And, so we did it. Everybody was being cautious and about it, considering we had, because we had 15 people in the band.
Did it feel safe to you? Did it feel safe to you? Were you like, yeah, this is fine, I'm not going to get it?
Oh, yeah, but yeah, because we were all, like I said, everybody, I can't comment on the accuracy of that rapid testing and stuff. We went to places where you literally just walk in and they test you and you get the result in 10 or 15 minutes. But they gave you a certificate. And when we arrived, everybody had their temperature taken. Everybody wore masks most of the time. Unless you were outside, because the area that we waited in between shooting, we were outside, like, outdoors. And then we shot it down in Boyle Heights downtown area in a warehouse. So it was a bit of a really big high ceiling. So, and nobody was really, even when the closest person was like, 6 feet away from me. So we were all kind of spaced out, even good on the stage for the most part.
Okay, so that's great. Talk about Soul Station and that, and I'm going to add a little something to that. Obviously, Paul likes hanging around you and drumming for you because you started before Kiss. You were originally in Paul's solo band, right? That's how I recall it.
Yeah, 1989. Yeah, that was the first time Paul. He did do another tour. He's had 3 different solo bands, if you will. 1989, which is the one I played in, and then when he did his Live to Win solo album, he did a solo, that was around maybe 08, 09 or something. He did a tour then. And in fact, the guitar player that plays in Soul Station, Rafael Morea, Rafael's in Paul's Soul Station thing, because Paul really likes him. And I think Paul, I have a long-standing relationship with Paul. I think there's sometimes you want people around you so you can not only to be a buffer, but sometimes to be, there's a security thing and a comfort zone of having familiarity. Okay. He knows that he can rely on me, like 100%. That's without question. Always. He knows I'm always going to be on time, be prepared. I like to think that I have the right attitude about stuff. I always tell everybody, how bad things can be. You got to make lemonade out of lemons. You just have to think that way about everything. Even if you get to a shitty gig or a bad circumstance, you got to go, okay, how can I make this work rather than caught up in all the negativity and how fucked it is. You can't keep doing that. You got to, things are fucked sometimes. We all know that. But sometimes you got to go, okay, but how can I got to make this work? And that's making lemonade.
Yeah.
Instead of being a sourpuss.
Yeah, for
sure.
Now,
we had Night Bob on the show, so he was on a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Lead me into this question because Night Bob, I think he mixed that Paul Stanley solo tour, right?
And yes, he did.
Yeah. And then
I don't know if he was doing this when I first joined the band or not. I'm trying to remember.
No, Oris was.
I know Oris did the tour, but I'm trying to think about the club tour. Maybe Oris did that too.
Club tour.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember exactly how that went down. You know, I did the Kiss Symphony thing, and then Oris was mixing monitors for that. And then when I left kind of after that, Oris, I think, got it. So that was right around, you came in like right after Kiss Symphony, isn't that right?
First did the tour in 92, and I played with them from 92 to 90. And when
I know that, but I'm talking about in the farewell.
Oh yeah,
the last whatever.
Yeah, Oris was doing some stuff. Yeah, Oris was, but then we had, what's his name? Actually, Oris was not there when I came in 2001. It was the hell's his name? I think he used to do ZZ Top and stuff too.
Oh, Toby Francis.
Yeah, Toby Francis.
Oh, okay. Right.
It was Toby. That's who was doing it. I always say Toby Wright. Toby Wright was an engineer producer that did the Kiss Carnival Souls record, but he did all the Alice in Chains and worked on Metallica and stuff. That's Toby Wright.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Night Bob thing is leading me into this viewer Phoenix Mounts is asking, looking back, he wanted to know what it was like to be in Badlands and Black Sabbath. And he also says you're an awesome drummer. So maybe a brief Badlands, brief Black Sabbath. We talked about Black Sabbath.
Night Bob did sound on the Badlands.
Yes, that's why I said Night Bob, because I saw the Badlands.
He done Paul Stanley, and I think Jake and Ray had come to the gig at the Palace when we played there, and they liked what Night Bob had done, so they asked him to do the sound for Badlands. And I got a funny story about Night Bob. Well, the guy that did Black Sabbath's Front of House was you guys know him. He was a really cool English guy. He was married to an Italian girl from Italy.
English guy. Huh.
I think he used to work for Dio as well.
Oh, Maury McMillan?
Murray, yeah, that's it. It was him.
Yeah, Maury McMillan. Yeah.
He was a nice guy.
Yes.
He was cool.
Yes.
I thought he used to make my drums sound like fucking thunder with Sabbath. I mean, I had internal mics, those May mics.
Yeah. But
I had a kit that was really loud because they were painted inside, lacquered inside and outside. So they had a lot of front end attack. They sounded almost like they were triggered and sampled, but they weren't. They were because of the inside mics, they were very isolated. So and Murray's the one that told me to get those mics, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And Murray he was a great guy, but he was good. I mean, I don't know how, what else thinks about him. I just remember the drums always sounded like cannons with him.
That's awesome.
Amazing. And we still use Randall May to this day with Iron Maiden, so he's still
we
around.
do. Yeah. We have a May system in his kick drum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I use the Kelly Shoe mic mount thing, which works great. I don't use the internal mics, although I had them on one kit. I still have some of the mics somewhere. But the ones, because they made them with the non-drill adapters, you could just mount it to the hardware on the inside of the lugs. But I had the ones that were drilled and mounted in my kit, and they did sound really good. I used that kit for a while, like with Gary Moore. Even the first Badlands tour, I was using that black. It was a black kit. But Night Bob was. I got a funny story about Night Bob.
Yeah.
Do I have to keep it PC or am I?
Not at all.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Let it rip.
So Night Bob, I remember we were playing the Pulse Soul Tour at Hammerjacks. And if you guys remember Hammerjacks, the way the stage was, big balcony all around above you. Yep. And right behind the drum riser was the door to go through an office. And then it would go back to the warehouse loading dock and the dressing rooms back to the right. Well, there was some blonde chick that was working. As soon as we came off stage, with Paul, we come off and Paul just grabs the girl with the blonde hair and grabs her hand and takes her with her. And he takes her in the back room. And next thing you know, Paul's in a room with the girl. And all of a sudden I see Bob's like this, and he's leaning back but he's got the chair in the middle of the room and he's leaning back like this. And I'm thinking why is he just sitting in the middle of the room like this? And he's looking straight ahead. And I'm like, what are you looking at, Night Bob? And there was a door, and the doorknob was missing. So when the doorknob missing, there's a big hole. And Night Bob was sitting there looking, watching the hole, watching Paul Stanley in the act.
In the act.
I'll never forget, one of the other guy comes over and he's like this. He's over there bending, looking. But Night Bob was smoking. So, you know, people, you know, they always would smoke cigarettes after having sex.
Yeah.
Night Bob was smoking a cigarette as he's watching somebody else having sex.
Amazing.
It was so funny. I'll never forget that. It was the funniest thing. Because, you know, I would never have thought anything about it except for the fact he had the chair positioned literally in the very middle of the room and looking in the hole. It was great.
It's weird. I've been in a weird situation, not with Paul Stanley, but I've been in a situation like that.
With Night Bob?
No, not with Night Bob.
Night Bob was a character. Night Bob was a character. Wasn't he working for Steely Dan? But he was more like
yeah.
Wasn't he more like a PA, like a personal assistant for them?
Yeah. I think he was working for Walter Becker, I think, and then he was basically the tour manager and stuff on Steely Dan.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's a cool gig.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about you playing. We talked a lot about Cleveland and your dad and all that stuff, but we kind of missed this. And Igor Santos asked, "Did you have a high school band? Did you play in a band in school, or were you always with your dad?"
Well, funny enough, I wasn't. I did play with locally with always original bands. I never played in cover bands or top 40 type stuff because I was playing with my dad on the weekends. When they had the typical high school band stuff, I got kicked out of band in 10th grade because I didn't want to wear this uniform. I had long hair and I was like kind of a punk. I'll admit I was a punk, and the band leader wanted me to be in the marching band. I didn't want to be in marching band and wear that uniform. And I'm like, nah, I was like, I can't. I play in my dad's band on the weekends. I can't do it. I have gigs every weekend. And there's nothing the band teacher, he knew who my dad was because everybody around town that was a musician knew who my dad was. And he's like, what are you going to say? Oh no, you have to be a marching band instead of going and playing gigs and I was already making money, starting in 9th grade. So then we had the first band concert and they want you to wear it looked like a uniform, not a suit and tie, but like a monkey suit, like a bellhop or something. They had a hotel. And I was like, I'm not wearing that uniform. I just didn't go to the concert. I didn't show up.
Wow.
So I got kicked out of band. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my dad's going to be pissed that I got kicked out of band. My dad didn't even say a thing. Didn't say a word. Didn't care because I was already playing professionally.
Right.
I joined the union at 14. So it's like and then I realized, why would he care about if I'm in a high school concert band when I'm already playing gigs,
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
Then Igor is asking about this. What was the most special moment in your career? Do you have one special pivoting point, or
do you have a memory where you're just like, oh my God, this is it?
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. Almost every band I played with, I was a fan of the bands or the music before I ever played with them. So that's a thing that I've always thought was unique, or that I've always recognized about myself that was unique. Like, wow, I remember when I first was living in LA and I, for example, heard Lita Ford on the radio with that song, Gotta Let Go. I'm like, oh, she's really cool. It's hard rock. I like this music. I'd like to play in their band. And I was in a local band, and this guy that worked from one of the labels, he's like, oh, well, she's already got this great drummer. It was Randy Castillo. And then all of a sudden, literally the end of that year, I get the gig. So It's just so weird that same thing. I loved Sabbath as a kid, and same thing, loved Kiss, was a big Queen fan. So getting to work with all these people, Gary Moore, everyone that I got to be in a band with, I was a fan of their music or them.
Yeah.
But I'd say the biggest thing, probably special, because I'm such a Queen fan. I mean, look, I loved Kiss. When I was 15 years old, Kiss, Mott the Hoople, and Queen were my 3 favorite bands.
Yeah, man.
Now,
so
I know you played with Brian May, but you were literally in Queen for a bit, right?
Never technically in the band. I did a couple gigs, and it was as Queen, yes. When they first started trying to fire up the band, John Deacon doesn't want anything to do with it. He doesn't even play anymore. But I already had played in Brian's solo band, and then they started doing some stuff. They did the first time they did something as Queen. They played Queen's Day in Amsterdam, which is a big holiday they do every year, where the whole city shuts down. Everybody has a yard sale. Literally in their front yard, any stuff you want to get rid of, you'll put down in the front and have a little yard sale on your sidewalk. It's kind of a ritual. We played Queen's Day. It was sponsored by Heineken beer, I remember. And there was 150,000 people in the town square for that.
Wow.
Because they had a helicopter go over with a thermal imaging device to count the. And they built it as Queen, and that's when they first were going to launch the Queen musical, "We Will Rock You" in the West End of London. So they were tying it in with the promo, and the Heineken beer family is from Amsterdam, and so they sponsored it. And so I did a with Queen. They did also like the Nelson Mandela benefit down in South Africa. I went down and played. I was like the second drummer. All those stuff, Roger Taylor was the drummer, but I was the second drummer because sometimes Roger would go out and sing and I'd play drums, or we played drums together. And so it was very cool because I love Roger, a big Roger Taylor fan, big Queen fan. So getting to play those guys, sometimes I felt like I was a kid in a candy store.
That's amazing.
Yeah, especially that Queen. That's amazing. Now we have a listener, Papinos, and he wants to know how he can meet you. Make sure you get that one.
Spam risk.
I would say don't answer that.
I know that guy too. He's on my phone.
We all know.
So he wants to, he goes, how can I meet Eric? And I'm also a drummer as well, and I want to become better. What's a basic tip for a guy that wants to get better?
Well, we all know the old cliches of practice and all that. I'd say the people that you're influenced by that you really like, then try to understand and dissect, break down what is it that they do that you like, and then how to emulate that. Not necessarily to try to be a clone, but take the good things that you like about, whether it's a person's sound or feel, they approach them, whether it's a visual thing or a sonic thing. But most important thing is, I think, like I always keep your ears and eyes open and be open-minded to things. The one thing that we did, we had the internet. We didn't have YouTube where you go watch people.
Yeah.
See how they did stuff. When we were a kid, you had to try to figure it out off of a record and go,
yep.
What is he doing?
Yeah.
And the only could maybe get a better sense of what they were doing. You saw them in concert, and you were close enough to be able to see it. Yes. So it's a lot different time to try to figure stuff out. The tools are out there, so take advantage of them.
They are. There's a lot more tools now, isn't there? And I guess he's just going to have to get luck at a concert when we return to try to meet you somewhere. You can hopefully.
Well, whenever they have like if there's ever a KISS Fan Expo or something, I've been a guest at those things. And of course, when I'm there, I'm always available for people to come up and say hi or whatever.
And they've been doing the expos and KISS things for years, right? So
well, the fans do them all. Hold on. It says they're approximately 10 minutes away.
Okay, good. That's about the time we got left on this.
That's about the time we got left.
Yeah. Perfect.
One of the questions that I saw earlier in the chat, they didn't put it in the Q&A, but they put it in the chat, was what watch are you wearing today?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to need to watch it.
This one is an old Omega.
Nice.
It's called a Dynamic. It's from like early 70s.
So if people out there don't know, Eric is a lover of watches. Talk about that a little bit. That's like your second passion, your second love, right?
Well, I like watches, cars, sunglasses, clothes, all that kind of stuff. Drums, I have a lot of vintage drums, some guitars, a few cool vintage guitars.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
I look at some of the stuff like art to me. To me, there's an artistic side or in the aesthetic beauty of a lot of things, not just a painting on the wall. To me, watches are like art, but I like the fact that you can wear a micro mechanical device that is useful. It tells time, it serves a purpose. And if it has a stopwatch or chronograph feature, you can time things, time songs, rehearsals. If you're trying to figure out the length of your show, I mean, it's a practical, useful thing,
tool.
But it's also, and for men, what's your biggest accessory is probably a watch.
That's right.
Love it.
And I don't know why. I've liked them my whole life since I'm a little kid. I still have the first watch my dad gave me when I was 5. But I always tell people the best way I can try to maybe make a correlation is that I'm a drummer. A drummer's a timekeeper, and a watch is a timekeeper.
Yeah.
So there's a direct relation right there. They both do. They serve a purpose. We keep time.
Sounds like there should be some endorsement deals coming for that.
There should.
I've done pretty good with that. I mean, I've had a lot of companies be very nice to me, put it that way.
That's
very
great.
Good. So
I have a memory of being in Australia with you and going watch shopping and you helping me to pick out an Omega that I still have, a Seamaster.
That was from Watches of Switzerland.
Yep.
In Sydney.
That's right.
And
God, why, that's so crazy. Your memory is so fucked up.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I remember, I'll tell you why, because the dollar was almost 2 to 1. It's like 50 cents. Their dollar was 50 cents at the time. So it was 2 to 1. And we had to pay no tax. We got the GST off of it.
Yep.
And then Doc McGee, after we bought a bunch of watches, all of us, remember we bought a whole handful.
Everyone did, yeah.
Together in one thing. And then Doc goes, okay, give me what's the best price? In fact, the watch that I bought the same time as you, I was just wearing that watch yesterday. It was an IWC called the Portuguese chronograph. I bought that watch that day, and David Matthews bought the Dave. You know Dave. Yeah. Dave Schrafe. Dave bought the same exact watch as I. We paid $2,500 for that watch.
Wow.
And which was a steal.
Yeah.
IWC,
and we found out the guy gave us a heavy discount on top of the dollar. And we had the perfect store. Anyways, we found out that guy got fired after that.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yep. Because I knew.
Because I mean, we got ridiculous.
It was cheaper than the store and dealers could buy it in America. That's how good deal we got paid. The dealer could not buy it as cheap as we got it. And the markup is the margin is usually anywhere from 40 to 50% off is what the dealer pays. So if you see a watch for 10 grand, they bought it for 5 or 6, and they have that $4,000 margin with on discounting. So I'll give you 20% off. You get for 8 grand, they stayed 2 grand. So this guy got fired. Because my friend still lives there. My friend Eagle, who worked for different watch companies, he told that guy got fired at.
Wow.
Well,
crazy. I've
always wanted IWC. Maybe when we get back to work, I can make that happen.
But we used to have the good connect, Tater. Doc McGee was friends with the guy that owned the company, but the guy that was the running the company, George Kearns, he moved over to Breitling. He's the head of Breitling now, the CEO.
Okay. Well, there you go. He's in the watch business.
He's still in the watch business.
I took the tour of the IWC factory with Doc McGee and George Lopez, the comedian. He was out hanging out on tour with us, and he likes watches. So us 3 guys got a private tour, and then we bought watches, and they gave them to us for like 50% off. And which was a great deal.
Nice.
What's your favorite watch? What's the one that's like what's the one?
Well, I hate to say I have a favorite because I have so many, but I would say probably my dad's old LeCoultre. It's a watch that he bought in 1951. He told me. I think he said he paid $150 when he bought it.
Wow.
But it was where it's got the day and the date and the month and the moon phase. They call that a triple calendar moon phase watch. But it's a unique, special kind of dialing. It's actually a very collectible because of the style of the watch. But for me, it's a sentimental thing.
Yeah,
I used to take that watch out of his dresser when I was a little kid, because I loved the little man on the moon stuff, and to take those watches out and always look at them and play with them when I was a little kid. He gave it to my older brother because usually the oldest brother gets the watch, the firstborn son. But my older brother gave it to me right before he died. I was in New York once, and he said, "Here, Eric, I don't really wear this. You should have it. I know you like watches." It to me, and he ended up dying a year later. So I'm glad I got it, because had he died, that thing would have probably gone missing, if he would have still had it. Oh, there you go.
There's your couch.
There's the couch.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming, man. Thank you, Eric. We appreciate your time.
Right, guys.
Take care. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
We will. Anytime. Let me know. Talk to you soon, guys.
I want to. Eric's going to get his couch. I want to stay on because I want to talk a minute about how hard of a band Kiss is, how hard working they are.
Yeah, stay there because I'm going to let them. They're just going to drop the couch and go.
Okay. So I wanted to get in for a minute where Eric's getting his new couch. To say, most people think, you're in a rock band and limousines and stuff like that, and you get to a point like Kiss is, it's no sound check and all that stuff. But how hard those guys work more than other bands because of having to get there early they do the really great meet and greet, right?
Yeah.
That they've really procured and made great fan experience, right? And not only that, they have to get there early to put that makeup on and the costumes. It takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication. You can't just, throw on those stage clothes real quick and go. They, jeans and a t-shirt, they've got the makeup and all that stuff, and how many extra hours a day they have to put in to do that, and how much extra effort that people probably don't realize over another band that they're doing every day and have done for years.
Yeah, I mean, and the other part of it is though that particular band is so good to their fans. That's been the secret to their success from the beginning, was figuring out ways to interact with their fans. And I think they've kind of been the model for most other bands, like certainly, in regards to how to handle VIP situations and how to do online activity and, all that kind of
engagement.
Stuff. So, yeah, they're a super busy band.
Yeah. I also like to say, I'm glad he brought up Dave Matthews. That we talk about the Kiss crew, and been there forever. Dave's wife was there for a bit, and obviously, a band's good to work for when they have people like Dave, who've been there 30 years, and Eric, who's been in and out of the organization for 30 years, and guitar techs like Fran and all those people, Robert Long, that have been around with them forever. Obviously, they're a good organization to be around because of people's longevity with them. And it starts with the band, and obviously Doc McGee do a fantastic job with them. And that's good to see in our industry, because it's not massively widespread, those kind of working conditions and
no, certainly not. It's not the norm now, for sure. They're great. They treat their band well. Both of us, you and I, have had experience there, and I can't say enough about how good my experience was there. So cool. All right. Well, we'll let Eric install his new couch.
Yeah, sure, it's nice.
And we hope to see you next week on Wrong End of the Snake. It's Skip Twitchell, an amazing video director, and a guy that we've toured with for years and love very much. So tune into that, and thanks a lot for coming, guys. Appreciate you.